Marwan Bishara is Al Jazeera's senior political analyst, and he joins us now live from London. Marwan, the president has been optimistic about this plan from the get-go. He's obviously very optimistic about it today, floating a trip to the Middle East. But those of us who aren't in the negotiating room still don't really know why that is or have any indication why that is.
Well, there are some signs that there is some understandings, basic understandings about what's coming up in terms of the exchange of captives to prisoners and the discussion over maps. But optimism for politicians like Trump is not simply a prediction, it's a strategy. Let's call it a strategy leading by optimism. Once he leads by optimism, it puts a lot of pressure on the parties there, including the mediators, to produce the results. And when they don't, they are blamed for it because, as far as he's concerned, he's been doing his best, and hence he's optimistic. And if nothing comes out of it, it's their fault. So optimism is not just a prediction, it's also a strategy.
And for the president, who has been saying that he wants to be the peacemaking president, that he's put forward this plan, he seems to be putting a lot of pressure on it going through. How big of an issue is there for him if this comes to an impasse and a lot of these points cannot be agreed to?
Oh, well, that's going to be a major problem, not only just because he would have failed, but, he's actually escaping the United States this weekend if he does, because he has a lot of issues in America, in Illinois, in Texas, in New York, in California. Most Americans don't like his deployments in American cities. Anyway, there's the Epstein file. There's a whole bunch of problems now. And I think for him, it's a good escape to go to the Middle East. And he did sort of stake his reputation on it, saying, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to get that done, especially when he failed to get the Ukraine issue done. So this is important. Now, let's define what is it he wants to achieve. The way I see it, analytically speaking, it's not peace per se, like let's love each other that he's looking for. What he's looking for is to translate the imbalance of power on the ground into a diplomatic solution. Meaning, what he's interested in is a hegemonic peace. Hegemonic peace meaning a peace that is favorable to Israel and the United States at the expense of long-term Palestinian and even Arab interests. He's interested in that, in hegemonic peace, and he thinks it could be achieved. His predecessors, American presidents, also tried to translate Israeli and American successes on the ground in the Middle East, from Iraq War to beating the Intifada to the Second Gulf War, into political solutions. And that's what we have now. Trump thinks Israel was able to defeat Hamas, Hezbollah, beat Iran, and now this is the time to translate all of this into some kind of a hegemonic peace.
So provided that this deal gets agreed to, the president has said that he sees it actually as a stepping stone to wider peace in the Middle East. As you mentioned, you seem more pessimistic about that than the president is. But if both sides do ultimately agree to this framework, could that actually happen?
It's going to be very difficult, look, because each one of the 18, 20 points needs an agreement in and by itself. It's a very vague, as you probably heard it already in the last few weeks, the last few days. This is a very vague agreement that only Trump and his minions can kind of work out the details with the Israelis and Palestinians. Trump says he, meaning, can offer guarantees. But the question is, who can guarantee Trump's guarantees? Because we know from the past 7-8 years that Trump goes back on his words consistently, right? So unless these things are signed into clear agreements with times and calendars and maps and so on and so forth, and there are other people who would guarantee it within the region and outside it, then we're just talking in hot air in the end of the day. Because once the captives are released, I think all bets are out, and in a sense, that's what he's interested in now, is this moment, and this moment is not about peace. This moment is about a ceasefire. Israel, until today, refuses to declare an end to the war until and unless Hamas fully disarms. This is a long process moving forward. Hamas still said it will not fully disarm.
Perhaps still a long way to go. Thank you very much, Marwan Bishara. We appreciate it.
Don't miss out the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.